Morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started today. Today is Stretch and Flex yoga-inspired workout day. It's Thursday. It's the end of most of our workout week. We've had a pretty strong week of training here at the gym. So this is actually one of my favorite workouts to do. It kind of completes what I've been doing for the week. Sets me up great for the weekend. If you guys don't know, I'm an avid road cyclist. So most of my weekends are spent long hours on the road. So on a Thursday afternoon, Thursday morning as it is today, I like to get through my stretching workout. It kind of helps relieve some of the soreness, gets me nice into a nice body movement regime from what I've done from the beginning of the week. So this is a great ending to my workout week and sets me up good for what's going to be happening over the weekend. If you're joining us for the first time, just so you know, I am not a yoga instructor. I am a personal trainer and a fitness coach. And what we're going to be doing today is using some basic yoga poses and moves along with some of my favorite athletic stretches that I use in some of my other training for a nice flow. As always in a yoga-based workout, make sure you move safely. I'll always give you different levels of which we're going to be performing. Make sure you take the level that's good for you, with the caveat that you always want to be challenging yourself, but never sacrifice good form, good technique, just to go to another level and possibly hurt yourself or stretch a muscle or get your joints into a place where they shouldn't be. So exercise caution while we're moving along in our flow. So all you need today is a yoga mat. If you have a towel, keep it handy, maybe some water. We'll be given at least 1 or 2 breaks where we get off of our mat and just kind of get away from the workout just for a moment. I'm going to go ahead and turn and face sideways on my mat so we can get into a little sun salutation. So take a nice deep breath in, arms come overhead, and as you exhale, reach wide, soften your knees and just get your hands right below your knees. And then you can kind of put a little bit of pressure to help lengthen your legs and lengthen your spine. Crown of your head moves forward, your hips move back. And then slowly bend your knees so you can get your hands a little bit lower. Then try to straighten your legs again. And let's try to go that one more time. Bend your knees, slide your hands down, maybe to the ankles or the tops of your feet. Then tighten the muscles in your thighs to help lengthen your legs. Soften your knees so you get your hands on the floor. Slide that left leg back all the way until you're in a nice supported lunge. Right leg back into a downward facing dog. Press through the palms of your hands, not the fingertips. Lower the heels as you lift the hips at the same time. Come forward to a straight arm plank and release all the way down to the floor with your arms by your sides. Release to the tops of your feet and press into a baby cobra. Release down, tuck your toes, hips high, press back to a downward dog again. Soften your knees, pop that left foot all the way through, grab it and help it forward if you need to. Lengthen your back leg. And now bring that right foot between and lengthen your legs again. Soften your knees, take a deep breath in. Hands are going to come forward. And as you bring those hands up, clasp the fingers. Roll your shoulders back. Be careful not to go into a back bend, but feel your shoulders rolling back. As you exhale, hands come by your side, then they go behind you. Clasp your fingers here. Roll your shoulders back. Release the hands back overhead wide. Exhale, soften your knees to a forward fold. Find that lowest point that you can grab and then lengthen your legs. Could be back on your ankles again, could be on the tops of your feet, or like I have, 10 fingers down to the floor. Tighten the muscles in your thighs, really lengthen the back of your legs, belly button tight as you do. Soften your knees, send your right leg back to a lunge. Make sure that left knee stays over the left ankle. Lengthen the back leg as you lengthen your spine. Step back to a downward facing dog. Go stronger into this press now as you feel your body Warming up, you get stronger and deeper into the poses. Come forward to a straight arm plank. We're all the way down to the floor again for baby cobra. Release the feet, hips stay down. Lengthen through your arms, but don't let your hips come up. Take it down, tuck the toes, press high, and back to a downward dog. Knees soften, power that right foot between those hands again. Lengthen your left leg. Step the left foot in. You're into forward fold again. You should be able to reach down a little bit further this time. The more looser you get. Soften your knees, lower your hips, hands come forward, come high, interlace the fingers this time. A slight back bend, nothing too big. Come tall, release the hands, let them come down by your side and back behind you. Interlace your fingers, roll your shoulders back. Release your hands by your side, take a deep breath in, arms go wide. Exhale, forward fold. Now we're going to bring in a few more moves into this sun salutation. Some power moves, some stretching moves. Soften your knees, send your left leg back. If my back happens to turn to your camera, just listen for the verbal cues. Now from here, turn your back foot into a warrior pose. That means you just want you to flatten it out and turn your toe. And we're going to rise strong to a warrior one. Interlace the hands. Straight up to the ceiling with the arms. Now press into that left foot, bend into the right knee. Let your eyes follow your hands, and you can go into a slight back bend if you like, but nothing too strong. What I want you to think about are the hands going up and the hips coming down. Now just turn and open those hands to warrior two. Take a deep breath in, sink a little bit lower. Draw the shoulder blades back. Now turn, pivot. Find that lunge again. Step back to a downward dog. Press strong. Soften your knees, bring that left foot all the way through this time. Turn your back foot into a lunge, into that warrior position. We're already into that lunge. Now, use your strength and power, rise, hands clasped, warrior one. Take a breath, sink into that hip range of motion. Draw your shoulders back a little bit, let your eyes follow your hands. Open to warrior two. Draw the shoulders back. Good. Straddle that left leg again. Pivot to that back foot. Step your left foot back again. Downward dog. Press. Lower through the heels. Lift through the hips. Come forward to a straight arm plank. Now, from here, lengthen through your spine, keep your abs nice and tight. We're going to bring your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Lengthen your back leg, lengthen your spine. That right leg, make sure the knee is right over your ankle. Now we're going to just turn and twist. Let that right hand go up to the ceiling. We're just going straight up for this one. Now, I always like to blend in some of my athletic stretches with our yoga moves. So bring that right hand back down. We're going to drop to the back knee. Release to the top of the foot. And now we're going to sit back into your left heel, stretching the hamstring on that right side. Use your hands to support your body weight if this is challenging. Let's come back up. Step off that left knee again. Take your right foot back just to the straight arm plank. Abs are tight, strong hold. Tighten the muscles in your thighs, lengthen your legs, reach your head forward. Remember, this is the plank position, not a pike, so you don't want to feel your hips up in the air. Now take your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Lengthen your back leg, reach the crown of your head forward. Now let's rotate into that left leg, so that left arm reaches high. Let's come on back down. Hand to the floor. Drop to that back knee, release the foot, and here we go. We're sitting back into that hamstring stretch again. This time on the other side. You may feel it differently if you point the foot or flex the foot. It's not right or wrong, just go with how you feel. Come back forward, hands on the instep. Release that back knee off the ground. Step back just to the straight arm plank. Hold. Feel the strength both in your core, arms, shoulders. Tighten the muscles in your thighs. Feel that length in your legs. Bring your right foot to the outside of your right hand again. We're going to hit that rotation. Now this time, reach past parallel if you can. How far back can you take it safely? And challenge yourself. Let your eyes follow your hand. Now bring that hand back to the floor. Step back to your straight arm plank. Remember, hands are directly underneath your shoulders. If you do that, your head should be further than your fingertips. Strong, straight plank. Left foot outside of the left hand. Turn and rotate. Go straight up first. Now take it back. How far can you go? Bring the hand back down. Step back. Straight arm plank. Now from here, be very careful. You're going to release to the tops of the feet. Slowly drop the hips until we're in up dog. So your hips are off the ground. Thighs are tight. Shoulders away from the ears. Again, hands are straight down under the shoulders. Come back up to the toes. Hips pike up. Press back to a downward dog. Let's stay here for a moment. Breathe. Every time you exhale, stronger push. Try to lower your heels down as you lift the hips at the same time. Soften your knees, power that right foot all the way through. Left leg follows. Lengthen your legs into a forward fold. Tighten the muscles in your legs. You should be at a greater reach than you were when we first started. Slowly bend your knees, drop your butt, take a deep breath in, arms reach forward as you come up, clasp the hands, draw your shoulders back. If you want to go into a back bend, just bend your knees. But also I want you to focus more on that shoulder extension going back. Release the arms, come back down. Clasp the hands behind you, roll your shoulders back. Release the hands, shake your arms. Step off your mat, guys. Take about 30 seconds to a minute. Come on back to your mat. Just go ahead and take your stance nice and wide this time to start. And from here, we're going to move into some strong warrior poses. Again, as well as some other stretches, maybe even pull in a little bit of balance, we're not sure. So in some of my strength training workouts, both with what I do here online and what I do on my own, I always like to incorporate a little bit of balance. And for me, balance really entails strengthening your hips and strengthening your glutes. One of the poses that brings that into play in yoga is Warrior 3. That's basically, in strength training, we would call that a single leg hip hinge. In yoga, we call it Warrior 3. So we're going to kind of meander around some poses, and then when I pull you up into that balanced Warrior 3 pose, I'm going to bring you back to this conversation we're having right now about the hip hinges. Okay? For now, soften your knees, turn your right foot out to the side, lengthen that back leg now. So in other words, tighten that muscle in your thigh. The knee will, I hate to use the word lock, let's just call it strong. And now we're into our full warrior pose. So really drive into the straight leg, bend but supported in your bent leg. Hips are tucked underneath you, abs are tight, never feel like you're sticking your butt out, okay? And keep this muscle right here in that left quadricep tight. Arms open to Warrior 2, draw your shoulders back. Now, if you notice, you ever watch me doing these poses, I'm constantly adjusting my feet. I may start off a little bit narrow, but as I feel my body loosening up, I may lengthen out. But it's strictly to keep my alignment proper. So again, my knee is always over my ankle. I never want to be here short, and I certainly don't want to be so long to where I'm stressing a joint out of alignment. So my adjustments are all about keeping my body in alignment. So here we go. We're going to drop that right elbow to your right knee. Take that left arm straight up in the air. Draw it back, not necessarily behind you. If you look up, it may be straight up from your shoulder. But what I don't want to see is you having your chest facing the floor. So draw it back. Take a deep breath in. See if you can sink your hips a little bit lower, maybe the inside of your left thigh, closer to the floor. And now take that left arm and just bring it to where your bicep is on your ear. And now you've drawn a great diagonal line from your fingertip to your heel. Now keep the lower body, keep the legs strong. And we're going to peel back to Warrior 2. Don't press through the legs. Let your core strength do the movement. Draw your shoulders back. If you need a little respite on that right leg, stay in alignment, just straighten it out, and then go right back in. Don't give up on your stance. You can change the length of the leg, but don't give up on your stance. Here we go. Elbow back down again, go right to the diagonal. Draw the shoulder back. Take your eyes up, maybe looking at the inside of your elbow. And now, this is one of the things we talked about in the beginning. I'm going to try to bring you to a new level. If that level takes you out of alignment or feels awkward in your joints, you need to come back here. So next level is you take that elbow off the knee, bring that hand to the floor, and you should feel more muscles come into play, but nothing in your back, your knees. Now reach that left hand down, both hands to the floor, turn forward with that right foot, and we're just going to be in a little safe place here. Wide leg forward fold, supported on the floor. You can rest, relax, or work this position. And the way you work it is you drive your hips back, tighten the muscles in your thighs, keep your back straight. And there's a proper way to get up from this position. Just listen. Shift your weight forward so your heels are off the ground Then you turn your heels in and your toes out. That's going to let your knees bend automatically. Your butt will drop. One hand at a time, come to your thighs, kind of like you're in a sumo squat position, and then slowly you can rise up from there. And this is right where we started that segment. Now I'm going to get it to the other side. So now your right foot turns in, the left foot turns out. Now we've just swapped. The strength leg is now your right. The bending supporting leg is now on the left. Torso is just going to work in the opposite direction now. So again, constantly adjust those feet to get to a place where you need to. Open up the arms to warrior two, draw the shoulders back, take a breath, get a little bit lower. Elbow to your knee, right arm straight up to start. Pull that shoulder back. Now with that support on your left leg, you should be able to lower the inside of that right thigh to the ground a little bit more. Take some breaths. Every time you exhale, just ever so slightly deeper, stronger into the pose. Now keep the lower body. Use the strength in your core to pull back to warrior two. Draw the shoulders back. Remember, if you need it, straighten out that left leg, but don't change your connection. Here we go again, elbow, arm up, and now find the diagonal. Arm over, straight line from that fingertip to the heel. Take a deep breath in, and if you want that next level, here we go. Hand to floor, nothing else changes. I still have that diagonal line from fingertip to my straight, strong back leg. Take a breath, see if you can go a little bit lower. Slowly bring that right hand in. Come to that safe spot of that wide leg forward fold. Turn that left foot forward. Lengthen your legs. Take a breath. Shift your body weight forward, heels come up, toes out. Bend your knees, drop your butt, one hand at a time to your thighs. Sumo squat, then stand. Walk your feet or step them back underneath your hips. Take another break off your mat. Get a quick sip of water. I already feel just this gigantic release going on in my hips just from being in that warrior position. I hope you're feeling the same. So now as we get into that even bigger strength pose of being on one leg, having those looser hips are going to help. So I want to start in that same place again, and you'll follow the transition. So start wide, toes turn forward, slightly bend your knees, get that right foot to turn, find that warrior pose again. So we're going to just immediately turn and face that bent leg. Take a nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, to bring those hands behind you, roll your shoulders back, press your hands away. So to get started into that power pose of warrior three, what I want you to do is I want you to take your back foot out of the warrior pose and bring it into a lunge pose. That means you're on your toes. Right foot, forward foot is flat. And now we're going to kind of lean forward. And if having your hands behind you gives you a little bit of an uneasy feeling, feel free to bring your hands to your thighs. I'm going to keep mine behind me just because I want to feel some strength and balance. So what I want to do is I want to lean as far forward as I can, get as much weight over that right leg as I can, to where that back foot is only on one or two toes, and then slowly bring all the weight into that front leg and lift the back leg. So true warrior three position, hands are going to come forward, palms facing each other, thumbs to the ceiling, body and leg parallel to the floor. Bring your hands to your waist. Lift your head, lower that leg without bending your back. So right now you're just standing tall. So we got into that pose from a warrior position, and now we're gonna get back into it just from a standing position and then return to a warrior pose. So go back onto that left foot right now, what we call a kickstand. So if you ever come to my strength classes and we do hip hinges, this is where we are. We either body weight or with dumbbells, bring all the weight into that right leg. That left foot is on a kickstand on 1 or 2 toes. Now remember, you pivot from your hips, not in your back. So here we go. Take it forward. With your torso, back leg lifts. That standing leg ever so slightly bent, don't lock it out. And just for a moment, let's try to extend to warrior 3 again. And if you can follow, either bring your hands to your waist or clasp them back behind you again like I had them earlier. Bend that right leg, reach back into a lunge with the left leg, and now pivot it to that warrior pose, and now look where we are, right where we started. So let's try to go through that quickly. We're gonna stay here, pivot off the back foot, bring your body weight over that front leg, power into that hip hinge, release the hands to warrior 3, return them back, bend that right leg until you can connect, pivot, and back. That was a nice quick series. Release the hands, turn forward, take a breath or 2 before we go to the other side. Breathe. Left leg, turn it. And I'm going to take you through slowly on this side as well before we hit that quick one. Because as always, one side or the other is going to be off in terms of strength and balance. So completely turn, face that forward leg, back foot is in your warrior pose, drop low. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, reach wide, hands are going to come back behind you. Let's go through this slowly now. Lean forward, and again, if ever you need to bring those hands to your thighs for support, that's perfectly acceptable. While you're here, take that back foot onto 1 or 2 toes or into that lunge position. Load up that left leg. Here we go. Torso and leg parallel to the floor. Release the hands from behind your back if you haven't already. Go to warrior 3. Bring your hands to your waist. Lift your head to the ceiling, lower that back foot just to the kickstand. Take a breath. Keep your hands on your waist. Lift the back leg. Take it back over. Extend to warrior 3. You can bring your hands back to your thigh, to your waist, or like I am, back behind me. Clasp the fingers. Bend that leg. Drop the back leg. Find your warrior position and come up. Take a deep breath in, and here we go through that quick flow. Ready? Pivot off to the back foot. Power into that left leg. Lift. Release the arms. Go forward. Release the arms, come back. Bend more into that front leg. Find the back kickstand. Pivot to your warrior pose. And come back upright. Turn forward and release the hands. How did you do? Step or hop the feet back under your hips. Step off your mat. Take a breath. We're going to head on down to the floor. Work a little bit more on traditional hip work, and again, bringing in some of my stretches. So we're going to start on the floor. I'm actually going to start facing you, just so you can see a little bit of this position I want you to find. So all fours, in your position, neutral spine, that means your back is flat to the floor. We're going to start with that right foot up into a donkey kick. And now from here, I want you to push it over to the other side of your body. Notice my shoulders and arms haven't moved. I'm not dropping down. I'm not trying to do a push-up move. I'm just nice and straight. Hands are directly under my shoulders. But I'm working that foot to the opposite side of my body. And now, from that position, from that donkey kick position with that foot over, we're going to bring it to the outside of your right hand. We were here earlier today, but now we're going to work it even further. I'm going to walk that right foot off of your mat. Turn the toe to the right. Take that right hand and just gently press away. And if you want something even deeper, you can go up on that left toe, let your left knee come off the ground, drop your body weight into that stretch. But if that's too much, go back to your knee, top of your foot, and just use that hand. Now before we get into pigeon pose, I want to get that hand back down, walk that foot back over, come back to all fours. And I want to repeat that series one more time. So here we go, right foot, donkey kick, hip opener. Bring it around to the outside of your foot, shift your weight forward, walk your foot off, open up, knee off the ground if you want it. Now drop the knee down, bring that hand back down. This time we're going to walk that foot back onto the mat and all the way across to your left foot, your left hand, and drop that right knee towards your right hand. Try to keep that right knee away from your hips. And now, there are two ways that we can handle this. I'm going to take this with an upright position. I'm pressing into the floor with my hands, head and shoulders come up, and I'm using that leverage to help drop my left hip down. If you like to use body weight and gravity, then just drop to your forearms and let your body weight drop into that stretch. I like the leverage factor for me. It helps me kind of fine tune where I want to feel that stretch rather than just my body weight collapsing down. Same thing here as we take a little twist. So I'm going to take both my hands and just straddle my right knee and use that twisting leverage. You can do the same thing with gravity. Just turn your chest over your knee and lay your chest over that right thigh. Come back to center. Use the strength of your hands. Go up on that back toe. Press back to all fours. I'm going to change positions. Feel free to stay where you are. We're going to start on all fours again. Left leg this time into that donkey kick position and open up the hip. And I'm specifically in this position so you can see how far over you want to try to get that foot on the other side of your body. So it really opens up that hip on the left side without contorting my shoulders and arms. So here we go. Take that hip opener, bring that foot to the outside of your left hand, shift your weight forward, and now walk that left foot off the mat. And you know what to do now. Hand to your knee, you take that knee off the ground in the back, either way. Come back to all fours. Remember, we want to do this hip opener stretch twice before we get into our pigeon pose. So take it up, take it over, really feel that pull, and then bring that leg around. Walk it out, push it, knee off the ground if you like. Bring the hand back down, and now let's walk your left foot all the way over to your right hand. And then lay it down. Left knee toward the left hand. Gravity or leverage, you choose the energy source, but try to work that right hip bone toward your left heel so you can really get to the inside of this hip. Turn, let's find that twisting leverage now. Body weight over that left leg. Again, you can go down or use the press into the floor to leverage your hip down lower. I'm going to take you out of this stretch differently than we did the other one. First, come back to that straight position, and now just sit into your left heel, your left hip. And we're going to bring that right leg around and just hug your knees and lie back. We're going to stay with hips, go into more traditional stretching rather than poses. So the way we're going to start, drop your left foot down, cross your right foot over your left knee, and make sure it's the foot that's on the knee, not your ankle or your shin. Now put your right hand on your knee, and I want you to anchor your back to the floor and push the right knee away. Two more stretches in this sequence. The first one, right hand's going to go through your legs, left hand comes around, grab the front of your left knee and pull back. Now, while you're pulling back on the left leg, keep your left foot relaxed. No need to flex that left foot. And just give it a nice pull in, and you should feel that in that right hip. The last part of this stretch, and we're going to start it from this position here. Take your left heel, kind of grab it. We're going to put it underneath your right butt cheek, and we're going to go into a modified half lotus position from the lying down position. So we have that right foot crossed over the inside of our left thigh. And if you put your hands underneath your back, you'll notice a big gap between the floor and your low back. Now, try to do a pelvic tilt where you're trying to minimize that space. You're not going to get rid of it all, but as you try to push your back down, try to keep that right knee downward. And again, feel what's going on in your hips, both inside and on your outside in your rotators. Let's get out of this stretch easily. Both feet down, knees bent. Take a breath, and now let's swap it up. Left foot across the right knee. Anchor your back to the floor. Push the left knee away. Left hand between your legs, right hand comes around, grab the front of your right knee, and pull it. Remember, relax your right foot. And let's see if we can get that modified half lotus here. Take that your right heel, pull it up underneath your left butt cheek. Try to fold that left knee down. Pelvic tilt tries to get your back flat. Find a good spot for that left foot on the inside of your right thigh. And as you push your back down, try to keep that left knee as close to the ground as you can. This is my surgically repaired side of my hip, so the range of motion is limited both by the repair and by some flexibility issues I have from the injury. But nonetheless, it feels good. And remember what I said earlier before we started this workout. All this work I'm doing now, I'm thinking ahead, getting ready for my weekend. And hips, hip flexors, hip rotators as a cyclist often get ignored. Not by me. Taking care of them so I can keep riding long and strong. Release that top leg, grab both of your knees, Pull them into your chest. Pull yourself up to a seated position. If you have to rock yourself back and forth a few times, go ahead. And then from here, we just want to pivot over to your hands and knees. Take a nice big cat stretch. Tuck your hips underneath you, chin to your chest. Release into a horse stance. Head up, hips out. Now come to a neutral spine, tuck your toes, lift your hips, find yourself in downward dog. Now I want you to slowly bend your left leg, and you're going to find if you push stronger with your hands, a little bit more pressure goes into the back of your right leg. And now switch. Bend your right, press back into your left leg. Let's do that one more time on each. Switch it again. Now just come to a regular downward dog. Press strong. Come forward to a straight arm plank. Lower all the way down to the floor. Baby Cobra, release the feet. Press into the floor, lift your shoulders without getting them near your ears. Come back down again, tuck your toes, drive back to a downward dog. Nice and strong, bring that right foot all the way through. Left leg in, forward fold. Lengthen the legs by tightening your thighs. Soften your knees, drop your butt, take a deep breath in, reach the arms wide, come overhead. Exhale, reach the arms wide, clasp your hands behind you, roll your shoulders back, and release your arms to your side. Great job today, guys. I enjoyed that. I know I feel good after I do these workouts. After Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday strong in the gym, and some of my other videotaping and workouts that I do, setting up for a good weekend of cycling. So whatever you do this weekend, I hope it's great. Remember, if you like this workout, you like this video, thumbs up. You can find these workouts posted on YouTube as well if you need stretching, strengthening, other times than when we do live. There are a bunch of these stretch and flex workouts on the YouTube channel. So get to them, send them to your friends, let them enjoy it as well, and we'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your week and a weekend.